Good day and good energy to y'all. So, this is an idea for humanity, and I feel like this could work good with Taylor Budd and his family. So, this is a message to try and open up a line of communications and hopefully good cooperation, with Taylor and his family. So, to help make an area available for people whom don't want to support slash work inside of these cities anymore. And then, for me, I follow Yahushua, the Bible, and in this, it's coming out of her people, come out of Babylon. These cities, in my eyes are Babylon. It's also a mentality, but again, living in these cities, helps produce that mentality based on, the program and the propaganda, which, most of us are very familiar with, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. So yeah, back to, this movement. So if we had an open and an available area, and with the upcoming season, of winter, a warm climate, southern states in the United States would be more efficient for right now. So again, the values that, this movement is about and that I think are good for humankind and the lessons that we all need to learn here are, things are spoken of in the Holy Bible, divine principles, which is what the Moorish government, the Moorish peoples, nation, I should say, rather, excuse me, are about, the 42 laws of Ma'at, which is also referenced in the book of Matthew, Logos, the way of Yahushua, the word, 13 love from the 13th son, for all and everything. Again, these are values that we aim to be, nothing, strict or absolute. It's showing an improvement. We're all here to learn and grow. So words and an idea to help navigate all the different levels of being an angel of the Lord. So we could come across a place where we are away from all the demonic distractions and spirits they carry. Inside these cities, generally speaking, the larger the city, the more of these distractions and thus the devilish spirit they carry are. And they feed and need people to stay there in order for themselves to keep their order and usher in their da 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 da. They want us here sick and stagnant, is my point. So this movement is all about helping people get away from these sick and stagnant cities and get back to being more active, and so that we can build better and more healthy cities. So onward. This idea would or could accomplish many good godly things simultaneously. It has potential to starve these beast systems and take away power from evil and replace power by replacing our attention to God and away from and not to the devil in these cities. Excuse me. So, words on unconditional love. I call you friends, not servants. No judgment. We use discernment and wisdom. Basically, and Pops really helped me with this. If you're really going to be like a God, then you need to help them with that which they need, not want you help with. And you have to get over. You have to get over the ego once. A lot of times when people are in help or in need, it's desire, it's something that is an imbalance that they haven't quite figured out, and they feel imbalanced, and so they lash out and they seek that to help balance them. But a lot of the times what they seek is what they is actually what is imbalancing them. So you have to be able to give them what is actually going to help balance them and not actually enable more of an imbalance. And then pride before a fall, because it's the ego talking. So anyway, and then this is an example of just the simple lesson here about us getting away from money and back to love that I was able to experience with Pops, Joshua, which I have shared on my YouTube before, but just to go over it again because it is so important and it's also so simple, I wanted to just share it. So if you guys don't want to see this part, you could probably just skip through a couple minutes and we'll be back on to the next stage of this movement. But for those who haven't or want to hear about it again, here it is. So this is a real life example, and so me and Pops were walking in an impoverished area of Portland, Oregon, and a man called us over, and so we crossed the street and went over. I was following Pop's lead, and so he approached the man whom called us over, and upon us getting closer, I realized another, larger, more physically intimidating, sized man was also there, chilling with his back and one leg up on the wall. Pops must have seen, the setup. I say setup because on further, reflection, they were probably about to try to rob us at gunpoint or, something worse. But I think it was just a robbery, an attempted robbery. But who knows? He saw the setup pretty quick because before, the homeboy, who called us over could even really do anything or say anything, Pops was, he just immediately jumped out and was like, I'm from New Orleans, we got those too. And I didn't know it then. I was just kind of listening to him, but he was talking about, because the man had his hand inside his waist, attempting about to pull out his gun. So Pops just jumped in and was like, "Oh yeah, we got those too." And this is important. It's very important how he said this. His tone was not afraid, was not challenging, was not like what the fuck or anything like that. It was just all love. Like it was just like, oh yeah, we got guns too. Like it ain't no big deal. Like there was no judgment. There was no like, oh, you about to rob us? What the fuck? It was just like, oh yeah, we got guns too. Like no big deal. And that's very important. That's the unconditional love. Even somebody that could potentially kill us, other people, rob us, whatever. He still, superseded that, surpassed that, and was fucking just loved through it. And it really did diffuse the situation. And with doing that deed, giving that most high loving seed now confidently planted in that mind of homeboy. And so by him doing that, he also helped create a memory and a moment for this individual that created momentum for him and the rest of his life. And I really feel like it helped change his day because as I said, Pops warmly befriended the homeboy, and I think if my memory serves correctly, he gave him a hug, and he said he loved him, and the homeboy said he loved him too, and like the energy was a complete change. Like it went from dark and violent and not knowing what the fuck was going to happen really quick to like pink flowers and doves and very beautiful. Like the dude was amazed. Like he was like, what the fuck just happened type thing. Really like a life-changing moment. And it was all just his ability to, or just desire, wants, who he was, his love, just went over there and just loved the dude. The dude was hurt. He's trying to rob people, but it's obviously somebody that's dealing with some shit. So, he really needed in that moment, wasn't, to rob somebody else, because that's just going to continue to imbalance his life and karmatically affect him and mess him up. But what he really needed was some love and somebody to also kind of like, in a loving way, chin check him and be like, yo, what's up, man? Like, you don't need that gun. Like, what's up, man? I'm love. Like, you all right? I'm here. I'm going to give you a hug. You're going to be all right. Let's, stick to the cross and do the right thing. Like, you can say those things and transfer that information without actually even saying it. Just his deed and what he did and the knowledge of the situation from them both, was able to pass on that message to him. And when we left, I left feeling like that was the exact message that dude had picked up. And the dude standing behind watching, the whole time. Happened very quick. It was maybe 2 3 minutes tops we were there. And then we were just walking on. Pops moves very fast. He's Godspeed. So that's simply the lesson here, so the theme time, God is love, and love endureth all things, everything. It endures it all. So that's the lesson here. We got to get back to love. So, Pops demonstrated successfully how one can deflect, divert, and disarm a potentially deadly situation by just being love, which, the Bible is all about teaching, the word of love and how to go about doing it the most high way. So he has plans to help humanity in a large way, with same simple formula, and it goes back to faith. Faith without works is dead. So we need to do the good, godly works to save the children and our earth and ourselves, or cells, or, our souls, essentially, man, the way Pops put it is, we all go to heaven, and heaven's essentially like, a giant, kind of like right now, it's kind of like a giant, hospital or nursing station or just healing area, and so you never lose your soul is my point. But there's levels and there's of shame. The way he puts it is that when you go up to heaven, it's all about how much shame you have, because you see what you did and your heart is weighed, and when you're in the presence of God and you realize where you came from, it conflicts a lot of people and they feel bad about themselves, and that's shame. So anyways, this is all about helping us get over our shame and do the work. And another thing, when you get up there and you see your opportunity to help all those people that really need help and what you chose to do with that, it's This is why when I was getting back to helping the kids, it's going to help ourselves, it's going to help everything. But it all starts with our offspring and the earth and our home and our heart and also ourselves. But we can't be too selfish about ourselves and forget everything else. So anyways, back to the movement. So a love of money is root of all evil. So simply flip that line, which has become our lives, upside down and right side up. We can do this by leaving big cities, coming together in appropriate, allowed, shared areas, and sharing all responsibilities. This is important, man, because I'm not trying to get no free nothing from anybody. Nothing is free anyways. It's all an exchange of energy. So this proposition is all inclusive to whatever needs to be done. Now that includes having to work at McDonald's. That includes having to clean toilets. That includes having to pick up trash. That includes having to do whatever type of duties are needed to help maintain the area that is needed to perform this movement and project. I just want that to be out there. That's my position in this, and what I bring forth to the table of the kingdom of God is, doing whatever it takes to get the job done. So, cleaning, so work at Mickey D's if the need be there. All this teamwork will go to building the kingdom of heaven here on earth, and thus helping cultivate and bring forth more good God inner chi and love. So in doing so, we will be being the good example for everybody, while setting the stage for a whole different and divine way of living and being, which will inevitably lead to providing the necessary resources and power/people to begin feeding all starving creatures. Repair that, I think I can guess the next word, which is broken. Remedy to the land or for the land, healing for the masses, good work to bring forth the good times. I mean, it's just that simple, man. And this movement will change everything. It's all about getting over people's addiction to money and things they don't need that also hurt others and enable an evil system. People don't realize how much living in these houses and all these attachments and things, they have an effect. They come from a place. They enable a particular way of doing things and certain technologies and even mentalities and programs and politicians and corporations that are killing us. But the thing is, we keep buying into it. So it's really not their fault. It's on our fault. And that's why it's up to us to flip the script and stop buying into this and selling our souls and start growing, our souls and everything that we truly need and that the children need and that the earth needs and that creation needs in order to keep on creating. So, anyways, mankind's love of money and lack of true faith, which is in the good godly work that the Son of God told us about. Now, again, when I say keep on creating, everything's going to keep on creating, but, there is a line when destruction can only, it's just been sucked so dry. Like like I've said this before, like it in itself needs creation to learn the lesson. Otherwise, there's that danger of, consuming itself. And even Pops has told me, like, yo, man, if I had to wipe everything out, like, first of all, it would look real bad on me. And second of all, like, y'all would miss each other and there really wouldn't be, much left. Like, it's not good for everybody all over the place. That's the enemy, so-called enemy. That's the angels. Everybody involved is not going to be happy, if we don't figure this thing out. So, again, just going back to, because I know some people get lost in the right and the wrong way of doing things. And, I did too for a while. But for me, it's more about, well, I've also looked at it as like, choosing to be righteous and, be the person that helps pick up other people's trash. To me, that's being a real G. It's easier for me just to let that trash be than it is for me to pick down, take the time and bend over and, use my muscles to pick up somebody else's trash. That's a hardcore thing. That takes some real love. That takes some real desire to take care of things, which is all about being a God, because it's all about responsibility. So the more responsible we are, the more we start taking care of the children and the earth and ourselves, the more like gods we're going to be, and thus the more, we're going to get closer to being able to be like Pops. And from his own mouth, he has said that we someday should be able to get to the ability to where we too can have our own universes and be like him, God. But it takes learning successfully, going through the knowledge of good and evil and learning the lessons that come with it. And this is the stage that we're at I think, is getting over the love of money and back to just the love of God and doing things that need to be done, not things that we want to do, so much. It's just the emphasis has gotten mixed up. We're all about doing what we want. The work we want, the programs we want to watch, what we feel like doing, like that. It's just gotten completely turned that way. But it needed to go that way for us to, feel the contrast of what it's like to get sucked into, to evil, into the devil, and to fall into these lower self, rituals and vibrations and see the effects. Now we are seeing the effects, and it's like, wow, we're all jolted to the point where it's like, well, shit, we can either carry on and continue to be slaves and robots and lose ourselves and life force and, and all that, or we can learn from the lesson and detach and grow and be something different and new and see what else we can, things can turn into. So that's what I'm about. So yeah, let me just continue on. Is why, or the result, and thus the reality we live in. It is, like I said, we are continuing to support and enable this system. As soon as we stop feeding it, it stops having as much power, and it slowly starts to dwindle while we can grow in ours. So we create it and are allowing this beast to have so much power because we are the power, and we keep feeding it our power while it's getting stronger and we are getting weaker. But again, as soon as we stop feeding it, we'll be getting stronger. It'll be getting weaker. So, yeah, and this is a message to the to the Bud family. And I know Taylor specifically. I feel, he's the the son that I'm aware of. I don't know if they have any other sons, but he's definitely in the spiritual game. And like I said, my intuition is feeling like this message would be good for him to hear, and I would love to collaborate and communicate with him and hear what he has to say. And also, I'm open to his ideas on what he thinks the best way to go about, dealing with this situation here on Earth and humanity. So, yeah, let's cooperate and use our mutual spiritual knowledge to figure out a way to get this work done, man. I feel like your family has a key role, and, I'd love to help you in whatever way is needed. So, all right, I love you guys, and I hope you all have a good day, and, just thanks, everybody. All right, take care. Love you all. Bye.